pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Tacoma Public Schools, hold on, I'm sorry, I'm having an issue with my computer. Tacoma Public Schools acknowledges that we are on the traditional, ancestral, and historic lands of the Puyallup Tribe of Indians. We honor with gratitude the land itself and the Puyallup Tribe. This acknowledgement serves as a first step in honoring our nearest tribal neighbors and partners who have inhabited this region since time immemorial, and to whom we give thanks for allowing us passage to their lands. We shall intentionally create inclusive and respectful partnerships that honor Indigenous cultures, histories, identities, and socio-political realities. General Counsel Venro, will you please call the roll?
Yes. President Keating?
Here.
Vice President Strozier?
Here.
Director Bombright?
Here.
Director McElroy?
Here.
Director Leone?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Excellent, thank you.
I move to adopt the agenda.
A second.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there any questions or comments? No. Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Item number 7, recognition of staff, students, and community. 7.1, state holidays and civic observances.
Yes, we have one state holiday in the month of May and one civic observance. The first, 7.1A, is Asian Pacific American Heritage Month. Since the year 2000, the Washington State Legislature has declared the month of May as Asian Pacific American Heritage Month in recognition of the significant contributions made by Asian Pacific Americans to the state. During the month of May, we've recognized achievements in various fields such as the arts, science, commerce, and education, and we commemorate the rich history and impact that the Asian Pacific Americans have had on our state. The second is Memorial Day. So this is a state holiday, and this year Memorial Day falls on May 27th. Because Memorial Day is a state holiday in Washington, it means schools and district offices will be closed on that Monday. On Memorial Day, we honor, remember, and pay tribute to members of the armed forces who made the ultimate sacrifice in service of their country, and we acknowledge the immeasurable price paid to defend our freedoms and values. And those are our holidays and observances.
Thank you very much. Item number 7.2, recognition of the Lincoln High School Skills USA State Champions in automated manufacturing technology, including, I'm not going to say these names correctly, and I'm going to apologize ahead of time. Amain Quabel, Alexandria Colocho, and Jaden Scranton.
Good evening, President Keating and members of the board. I have great news tonight, as you mentioned. I'm honored to stand before you tonight and extend a well-deserved acknowledgement to the remarkable champions in the winter season high school state championships. These young stars have poured their hearts, their sweat, their determination into their respective events, and now it's our privilege to recognize their remarkable accomplishments as state champions. These students and students in the audience, I'll say to you, congratulations. Your legacy will forever shine bright in the halls of your school and your community. To the coaches, to the athletes, the athletic directors, the teachers, the principals, the sports staff, the parents, we thank you for your unwavering commitment to these amazing students and these athletes. So on behalf of our district athletic director, James Neal, who is away right now, cheering on our next champions, allowing me to introduce the representatives from each respective schools. And I would like them to come up here and introduce their winter state champions. First, we'll start with Carl Hoseth, the principal at Lincoln High School. Carl, can you come forward right here? Mm-hmm.
So thanks for having me here. This is a real thrill for me because we have two of our members here from our Skills USA State Champ. We have Iman Kabil and Jadion Scranton, and Alexandra Colocho was unable to be here, but they won the state championship in what is arguably the most technically and mentally challenging competition that Skills USA has to offer. In 8 hours, students are given a 3D part that they must print, interpret, and draw on a 3D computer-aided design, and then create the tool paths for the computer numerical control machine, and set up the CNC machine for a part within 10,000ths of an inch. In the middle, they get to change order, and they must adapt. There's a three-person team that must all work together to make this happen. And then just a couple of quick things. So our Lincoln Skills USA team defeated the reigning state champion, who had won the past state championships 3 years in a row and took 9th in the country last year. The contest has 1,000 points available, and our Skills USA team not only took first place, but we had a second place team in state as well, and they finished both 100 points higher than the team that was first place last year. And my final thing, I want to honor Mr. May, who is the advisor that's with us here today, and he said this is the first state winning team with 2 female competitors. And according to Mr. May, one of the most amazing testimonies to this school, its staff, and its culture is the fact when I proposed going to state, winning state, and going to nationals, these students had no hesitation and said, okay, let's do it. So, our Skills USA state champs.
Carl, would the teacher join with it? We would love to get a picture with everybody, including staff that participated. Thank you.
And Mr. May is coming up right now. Okay. And just a side note, when I was at the Stadium Lincoln football game, he told me that he was going to take a team to nationals, which is the first time that's ever happened at Lincoln for a Skills USA team. So
awesome.
We're going to take a picture, I guess.
And ready? 1, 2, 3. Take a bunch.
All right, next.
I'd like to call to the podium Bernadette Ray, principal at SILAS High School, to introduce her state champions. Bernadette?
Good evening. Excuse me, let me find my notes here. Because it's hard to keep straight all the many fabulous things about True Willis. And excuse me for the allergies. True Willis is a junior at SILAS High School and has been wrestling since 6th grade and competed at all levels from folk style and freestyle events throughout the nation. I did not grow up knowing much about wrestling, but True Willis is one of the reasons that I have started to attempt to learn. She has traveled to locations like Reno Worlds, where she's placed first in her weight class, and she's currently ranked 14th in the nation at 190 pounds. True won her first state championship for 3A classification at 190 pounds this year, 2024, and is looking forward to defending her state title during the MAC Classic Championship for the 2025. She's looking to get her second state championship next year because she's only a junior. I could go on and on, but really, I'm hoping that maybe True would like to say something, so I'd like to welcome True Willis.
We don't bite, promise.
Hi, my name is True. I'm just proud to start a legacy from my school because we changed our name to SILAS. And I'm proud to start that as a female. And that's what I want to give to the younger kids coming into our school. So, yeah.
Excellent. Thank you. Congratulations. True. Would you like to have, it seems like you have family with you. Would you like to have your family up with us and take a picture together? Your families all know. You are important. You should come up. Mine's better.
Okay, ready? Big smiles. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Congratulations.
Let's give her one more hand. Good. So I'm going to call Mr. Principal Joseph back up. He has some wrestling champions he wants to highlight as well. Please.
All right, thank you. We've got two, and I'll just do those individually. So first of all, Zeta Lee is a senior at Lincoln High School, and she becomes the first three-time girls wrestling state champion in not only Lincoln history, but in Tacoma history. And she would have won a fourth if there wasn't the COVID shutdown, I think. So three-time state champ. Her overall career record is 112-3. She's also a three-time sub-regional champion. She is a three-time regional champion, and she was voted by the Tacoma Athletic Commission as the Female Athlete of the Year. She was crowned the 3A, 4A 115-pound champion this year after winning the 110-pound weight class the past 2 years. And from head coach on the boys' side, Coach Willie Ross, he said, Zeta is hands down one of the hardest workers I've ever worked with. She's accomplished more in girls wrestling for the city of Tacoma than anyone. And Zeta plans to wrestle again next year in college. And I don't know, Zeta, if you wanted the microphone too, or... But let's bring her up. Three-time state champ, Zeta Lee.
I just want to
You can move the microphone down if you want. He's tall.
I just want to shout out my coach, Willie Ross, and my dad. And I'm proud to be a three-time state champ.
Zeta, would you like to come up with is your dad here too?
Yeah.
Okay, would you like to have your dad up? And your coach?
Yeah.
All family, like whoever's affiliated.
All right. Yeah. 1, 2, 3. All right.
Congratulations.
And finally, one more. So William Ross is only the second 9th grader in Lincoln High School history to win a state championship in wrestling. But he is the first 9th grader to be crowned undefeated state champ with a record of 46-0 this past season. Wow. William helped the Lincoln boys wrestling team to a 3rd place finish in the WIAA state championship at the MAC Classic. This was the highest finish for a Lincoln wrestling team since the state championships moved to the Tacoma Dome 35 years ago. And oddly enough, the team that took second place in state is from Oregon. So actually, we're really the second place in the state of Washington. William also plays varsity baseball for Lincoln. So let's bring up Lincoln's 9th grade undefeated state champion, William Ross.
My name is William, and I just want to thank everybody for the support and everything. And I don't even know. That's really all I got. That's all I got.
Thank you. William, would you like to come up? Do you have anyone with you?
Yeah.
Would you like them to join you?
Yes, please.
Okay.
William's dad, William, is the head wrestling coach and also a Lincoln grad as well.
Parents, would you like? Listen.
Okay. There we go. And 1, 2, 3. There we go.
That's impressive. Let's keep the celebration going, shall we? I'd like to introduce Athletic Director Rhonda Stinson from Mount Tahoma High School. Rhonda?
Before I get started, I just want to, before I introduce our unified champions, I want to tell you that we took to heart what Dr. Garcia said and gave the challenge to become a nationally certified unified champion school. We have instituted within ASB. We could only bring 5 athletes tonight because there's one's running at the PCL track championship. We're the only one that has a state track team that's going to be their first year. So I just wanted to put that out there that we did accept your challenge and we will be certified within 2 years. So the Special Olympics Unified Sports, our basketball team has been involved the last 10 years. They've appeared in the state tournament for the past 8 years, and they've brought home the championship the last 7 years for Division I, which is the most competitive. You are not able to tell athletes from partners. So tonight we have with us James, Devontae, Roosevelt, Mackay, Joshua, Coach Vig, and truly the champion of Mount Tahoma High School with Unified, Kimberly Miller. I just want to say a little spigot about Kimber. The other schools, when they have issues or don't know what to do, Kimber is like the unified AD for the district. She's the one that pushes every time this is coming up. She's the one, she finds athletes, she gets it done. So I just want to make sure that the unsung hero did get some TV time.
Okay, and ready? 1, 2, 3. We're gonna take a bunch. Thank you.
Thank you, Vince.
All right, I see Vince is walking away, so that was exciting. Congratulations again to all of our athletes that are here, and our students, and our champions, not just our athletes, and also all of the staff and the families that support them. This is very exciting. We love to be able to celebrate you. So thank you for coming and giving us an opportunity to celebrate you. All right. Moving on to item number 8, Superintendent's report. 8.1, curricular updates for 2024 through 2025.
Madam President, we have, well, let some folks transition real quickly. And tonight we're joined by Director Angie Neville to give us some updates in curriculum instruction.
Good evening. Tonight I'm going to talk to you a little bit about science, what we've been doing in science at the middle school level, and also enhancing our elementary social studies curriculum. So, let's see, I think I have a PowerPoint coming.
We're just waiting on the PowerPoint. Do you all have? There we go. Excellent.
All right. So we'll start with science. About a year and a half or 2 years ago, we started hearing about a new curriculum that was being developed that was supported by OSPI, our state organization, and also was going to be free. So that kind of excited us to think about what that could look like and sound like. And the name of the curriculum is called Open SciEd, and they started with middle school, and they'll be, they're currently looking at what high school and elementary can look like as well. But we were intrigued once we found out that the middle school curriculum was ready to pilot and to put out there. This curriculum was created by science researchers and educators in collaboration. It was designed with the state standards that were adopted, probably in about 2015. So it was designed with those in mind, and it's aligned to how students learn best. So one of the, it also recently, so Ed Reports is an organization that rates different curriculums, and for middle school it was one of the only curriculums that got flying colors. And so we decided to start with kind of a soft pilot, and we began that go to here. We began that in 3 of our middle schools, 3 of them that use kind of a more of an inquiry-based approach, and they loved it. Both students, we heard very positive feedback from both students and from teachers, and so this led us to decide that maybe we wanted to spread the wealth and think about going through a regular adoption at the middle school level. So we brought together the District Content Development Committee, or DCDC, and scored it. It received very high scores from that team. And then as a result, we decided to go ahead and pilot. You'll see some of the scoring in the appendices that goes with this PowerPoint. So you'll have a chance to look a little bit deeper into the different criteria that we used. We piloted this year, and we decided to pilot for the first semester. So we purchased 3 kits for each of our teachers. All of our middle schools had an opportunity to pilot, and we collected feedback along the way, both from teachers and from students. You'll see some of that in the appendices as well, but was very well received. We heard things like students were more engaged than they've ever seen them. They were collaborating, they were inquisitive, all of those things that we want our students to be when they are engaging in science labs. We finished that pilot probably right before spring break, collected additional information, additional scores from our teachers, and as a result, brought it back to the DCDC and then the Instructional Materials Committee. Both of those teams, those district teams that are part of our policy, both recommended that we move forward with an adoption. education. And so we wanted to bring that to you tonight. A little bit more about the curriculum. It is based, like I said, it's an inquiry-based program. So it starts with a phenomenon, something that's naturally seen, that would cause kids to kind of say, what's that all about? And so that generates questions and inquiries that kids want to dive deeper into. The teacher acts more as a facilitator in this program, in this inquiry-based model. So they encourage kids to ask questions. They provide them with resources that they can explore, and then they end with some kind of a final culminating project to show the learning that they have accomplished across the unit. It's very collaborative. When you go into our science classrooms, you're going to see kids with their heads together, gathered around different kinds of resources, exploring what this phenomenon is and why it's doing what it's doing. And I think one of the things that we heard quite a bit from our students is they really felt that it was relevant. We try and look at local phenomenon, things that are happening in our community and around us, and I think our students really felt like this was relevant to them and important to their learning. Our next steps in terms of middle school science is to provide the actual units on our public website with a form so both the public and you as our school board can take a look at and explore it a little bit further and ask questions or comment on those resources. We also want to we'll follow up with a Friday report, so you'll see that tomorrow with a little bit more information, especially around the scoring and the different criteria that we use to score the materials. And then our hope is to bring this back to you either later this month or next month to see if you agree that this would be a good thing for our students. The second area that I want to talk to you about is the work that we have been doing around STI. So that's our tribal sovereignty curriculum at the elementary level. There is a Senate bill. It's 5433. It's a very long bill, but I decided to pull out three really critical parts to the bill, and that's that when a district adopts new curriculum, the state asks us to incorporate curricula about history, culture, and government of the nearest federally recognized Indian tribe or tribes. And our nearest tribe is the Puyallup tribe. The second part of that bill talks about how although OSPI offers STI resources on their website, they've been around for a long time, that it's okay to work with your tribe to develop your own resources, things that would be very relevant to this area in our community. And then the third piece of that bill that I felt was important to point out was that, that we continue to meet regularly with the tribe to make sure that the resources that we are providing are the most relevant and most up to date. And I'm proud to say that all three of those parts of the bill are really, we've definitely taken those to heart. So this is year 2 of our implementation of our adopted elementary curriculum, which is Inquiry Journeys. And we have worked really closely with the representatives from the Puyallup tribe to enhance that curriculum with lessons that very nicely integrate into what is in the adopted curriculum that we already have. We've purchased books that are by Indigenous authors. We've developed lessons to go with those books. We have figured out exactly where the perfect place to put those in the curriculum. So, like I said, we don't want our teachers or students to feel like this is one more thing or something different. We want them to feel like this is just part of what we do. This is part of our learning about our history and our culture here. And so I feel like that we've done a good job of accomplishing that. This slide just has a kind of a timeline. There's lots of different pieces to it, but just know that I know I've been in the district for 9 years now. Pretty much right away started working very closely with the tribe. They've gone through a few different people who have worked with us, their educational department, but we have really developed a close partnership with them. And all of the resources that we have developed either started with them or we've brought it to them and had them vet it and give us feedback. It's definitely been kind of an accordion process with us developing lessons. They look at it, they give us feedback, we make changes, we bring it back to them. So very much a give and take in terms of the development of those resources. We had teachers that were involved in designing those lessons. We brought it out, we put it out there for all of our teachers across the district to pilot, to give us feedback. Again, revisions happen. We brought it back to the tribe. So it's been quite a process that we've engaged in over the last year and a half, but we're pretty happy with our product right now. We know that this is a curriculum, though, that we want to continue to refine and get better. And as new things happen, we might add or we might change things a little bit. It's kind of a living curriculum that we've developed. I think that is, it honors the intent of the law. A few other fun facts that you might be interested in. Over the last number of years, we've trained over 500 TPS teachers in STI, whether it's the STI resources that are provided by the state or with these new resources that we have designed recently. You as the board did engage recently in a session with PAC and students and community members that was facilitated by David Scythe, and that we do at least a yearly, sometimes more times than one time a year. We do consultation with the Puyallup tribe regularly to ensure that we are addressing the needs of our Indigenous students and that we are in compliance with the state law that's out there. The next two slides really kind of just show an example of how we worked to ensure that the resources that we were putting together were aligned to the Washington State Social Studies standards, and that we have different kinds of resources that we've made available to our teachers, our principals, our instructional coaches that show kind of how this all fits together. You'll see in this slide it's showing at first grade. They have 4 units that they use, that they are engaging students in with our adopted curriculum, which is Inquiry Journeys. And you'll see we added a lesson with the book Fry Bread into the first unit. We added a lesson another lesson in that unit that was around language, in particular, Lashute. And then in the third unit, we added a book that was called Pesca, that is around salmon. So you can see how we've just done a nice job of integrating it into what's already there and enhancing what we already have in place. Our next steps for STI. because this is a supplementary curriculum or supplementary lessons, oftentimes we don't go through the adoption process when we have supplementary materials. But both the tribe and the CNI department feel really strongly that that having this be an enhanced part of our adoption and kind of giving that official stamp of approval goes a long way to honoring the intent of the law and also honoring our partnership with the Puyallup tribe. So we're asking again that you consider this as an enhanced adoption piece that would go with our already K through 5 adopted materials. We will also put these on the public website with a form so that you guys can take a look at it, our public can take a look at it and give us some feedback around it. We will include some additional information in that Friday report to you around how it was scored. We took it through the same process like we do any of the other adoptions. So we had different criteria that we were looking at. We had our DCDC score those materials. Some of that is also in the appendices that goes with this PowerPoint. And then, like our middle school science materials, we'll be bringing this back to you either later this month or early next.
Okay. All right. Are there any comments or questions?
Just a quick question. I saw that everybody would be given the opportunity to give feedback via the forum and public facing. Will it just be on the TPS website, or will the forum be on like each school's website as well?
The plan was just to put it on the public website.
For the materials, but like maybe the link for the form. I don't know if, you get what I'm saying? All right.
Yeah, we can work towards that intent and putting a link or a notification that goes like an article on the school website. I'm sure Ms. Jumper's excited about that opportunity sitting back. Yeah. We'll work with that then. It's a great suggestion. Most folks go to their school websites for their information, and so it's a good opportunity for us to reach out to the community. Thank you.
Thanks.
Other questions or comments? No? All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. And moving on to item 8.2. 2024-2025 transportation updates, bell schedules, and before and after school programs.
Thank you. I've asked Dr. Nolan to give us an update of where we are with our bell schedules and before and after school programs.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Just a quick reminder, this started out as a deep dive analysis into our transportation service delivery model with the lens of looking for cost savings in the service delivery model. And it was determined that we had some opportunity for ride efficiencies, which led us to moving towards a tiered opportunity for start times so that we could schedule more efficient bus routes and yield to cost savings. So for our update today, I really want to share elements that came through in the feedback from the community, which really was centralized around 3 themes that you see. We found that people really want to have an understanding of what sort of impact this would have with our partners for beyond the Bell and Club B, and perhaps some before or after school childcare. What does this mean for athletics and activities? That's something that the community wanted to know more deeply about. And realistically, there were a lot of people who simply want to know, when will this start? When will we have some final times? And so while we don't have the final times, what I would like to share with you this evening is that high school will start at 8:05 and go to 2:35. That's already been shared. But in the analysis, we can share with you that we will be moving forward with that. Middle school will start at 7:40 and go to 2:10. And now for elementary school, we still have work to do. And while we can tell you that the tiers will approximately 50% of our elementary schools will start at 8:40 and go to 3:10, and the other half would go from 9 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. What we can't tell you right this minute is which schools those will be, but our commitment is to get you that information by the end of the month. So what does this mean for our community partners? Remember, that was one of the concerns that came in. Our partners have been notified and they have committed to working towards adjusting their start times and end times to meet the needs of our community. And one point of clarity is the partners' time for their offerings will not be extended. It would merely be adjusted to meet the new start time and the new stop time. Activity, yes?
Can I get a further clarification? So right now, the programs are from 3 to 6. Is that right, the after-school programs?
No, so we have multiple after-school
So
programs.
you're not talking about Club B, that stuff. You're talking about on-site childcare, or what are we talking about here?
All the above, anything that's on a TPS location. So we have two, I think, signature programs, right? This is Beyond the Bell, which we have our largest participation in Beyond the Bell this year, and that goes from 3 to 6. Right. And so they would adjust accordingly in that. They establish the business model. Our partners do that. We give them the space to help the families get a lower cost, similar to with after-school and before-school childcare. There's a collaborative that offers before-school and after-school childcare on-site, and those are the YMCA Champion Metro Park schools out in prime time. So Dr. Nolan has reached out, and I've reached out, and Forrest has reached out to make sure that they know, and they would adjust accordingly with their staff in that same. So when we talk about it's not going to be extended, they make the decisions for how long they want to offer before school and after school care. We try to collaborate, provide staff, doors, and stuff that naturally fit, but they've indicated to us we won't be extending those time periods, we'll be just adjusting them.
Okay, so just so that I understand it, I'm sure other people that are listening might have questions. So if we're going for an earlier start time, if it's one of the 50% of the elementary schools that are starting earlier, then the after-school program would start when it ends, which is earlier, but it wouldn't go till 6, it would go till 5:40.
Right.
Perfect.
Exactly.
I just wanted to make sure that was clear.
And our community partners would continue to collaborate with us to offer high-quality learning opportunities outside of the regular school day. And what does this mean for athletics and activities? Well, almost take the same philosophy and transfer it to athletics and activities. They'll continue to operate as it has in the past. Our practice will begin right after school, just like it does now. It will just adjust to the dismissal time, and they're typically 2 hours in length. That won't change, and the activity buses will continue to provide transportation. The only thing that will adjust is the time in which dismissal is, and then you add on that typical 2 hours, and that's when practices would be over. And for high school, the athletic practice will continue to vary in start times after school depending on the sport. Right now, for example, just because of the nature of multiple sports happening at one time, there could be a soccer practice right after school and a lacrosse practice after that. So in continuity and with consistency with what's happening now, practices would be offered in a similar fashion, just adjusted to the dismissal time. And each of the program start times, as I said, will continue to vary based on the need, including the coaches' schedules, the facility availability, and other factors. Now, I've already talked about the schedules of what we know. I just want to say it again. School start and end time will change for most of our schools for the 24-25 school year. And I'm going to say it again just for people who are listening at home and may not see the PowerPoint. That means that high school will start at 8:05 and go to 2:35. Middle school will start at 7:40 and go to 2:10. Elementary will have the 2 start and 2 end times. Half of our schools will start at 8:40, and half of those elementary school, half that starts at 8:40 will end at 3:10, and the other half will start at 9 o'clock and they will end at 3:30. And that will be published, the start and stop times will be published at the end of the month. What won't be published at that time is our bus routes. They don't get published till August, closer to school time, and that is par for the course with each and every year. So I would like to know if there's any questions.
Do you have a question?
A little bit.
Go ahead.
All right. I've had this question a lot, and it's mostly about before school childcare on site. With the earlier start time, would that adjust the before school childcare on site.
Yeah, that is what our partners are working towards right now. So I'm going to make up an example that's hypothetical just for easy numbers.
Thank you.
If childcare, if school started at 9 a.m. and childcare partners committed to a 7 a.m. start time, but now we're shifting to an 8:45 start time, 15 minutes, we're not, we're more like 20, that childcare availability is working towards shifting to that 15-minute earlier start time. And again, I do want to point out, for the sake of everyone, that we're not extending the availability, it's just adjusting to meet the new start time and the new dismissal time.
That's the only question I get all the time. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Anybody else have a question? I'm trying to recall when we first had this presented to us, there was a conversation about how to determine what the determining factors would be for what elementary schools would be where. And what I'm recalling, and I'm asking for clarification and correction if that's not right, is that it's based on the distance of the bus routes in terms of which schools would start at what particular.
Well,
thanks,
I'm
Zach.
asking Zach to just join us up here.
mean,
Zach
he's
Middle's
here,
Director of
so I
Transportation. He can say far
make it
better than I.
worthwhile.
Great question. So that's going to come into, we're trying to pair the schools, so to keep them close together, because the intent is to have the buses do 2 schools if possible, if there's capacity, if there's the time. So think of it as a catchment area. When they go into it, we want to have them partnered with a school close by so they can do double duty.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Yep.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Middleton. I have to point out, this team has been working very, very hard to design an infrastructure that would meet the needs of our students first, and then, of course, the budgetary mitigation that we've been looking at.
Anything else? Any other questions? No? Okay.
Madam President, I have a couple more updates real quick. I'd like Mr. Williams to join us, and I want to give you a quick update around the BIRNEY Round building. So Mr. Williams joins us. I want to make sure that we are talking about the same. Right now on the BIRNEY campus, there are really 3 buildings, right? There is the school that has been recently remodeled. There is the BIRNEY Round building, which in the past few years has been used by some community partners, and now we are using it for some school-age children classes. And then we have a storage facility, a temporary storage facility, which is the old building that we don't have any students in. And so when we talk about the different buildings, it's just good to remember that the distinction between the 3. Mr. Williams.
Thank you. I know we've heard from many parents, many staff, and many students about their concerns. We take their concerns very seriously. First, I want to thank the Department of Health and Tacoma Public Utilities. They have been exceptional in providing us guidance on how to resolve this issue. On April 1st, we took our official or initial test results of water samples. We did not receive those results until April 23rd. The results illustrated elevated levels of iron and manganese within the water. The Department of Health immediately advised us to implement a flushing protocol, which is flushing out the water out of the water fixtures within the BIRNEY Round building. It's happening weekly. This is being conducted by a licensed plumber, part of our great members of our maintenance team. The Department of Health advised us that the potential root cause of the issue is due to the plumbing within the BIRNEY Round building. It needs to be replaced. As of yesterday, we've entered into a contract with a vendor that will start replacing the piping within the building beginning next week on Wednesday. We hope to have the work completed by the end of May or Memorial Day weekend. If there's any opportunity for us to expedite that timeline, we definitely will. The work will take place after school hours, so it won't have effect on students and staff within the building. All the information that I shared is on our BIRNEY public website.
Just a question about, for those that are out, parents might be listening. So what's happening now at the Round building for water services? Are we bringing in water? Or?
So we're providing all our students with water bottles currently.
Okay, thank you.
And if I remember correctly, like hand washing is not an issue. It's the consumption of it.
To consume it is not toxic. Just to want to be clear with that. But the water, you can utilize it to wash your hands.
Okay. Are there any other questions? No. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. So many may know or may not know, this is a busy week of also honoring staff. And so I want to take a few moments to honor a few different groups of staff that work with us. First, this week is Teacher Appreciation Week. TPS has just over 1,800 different classroom teachers. Some fun facts. 73% of our teachers have a master's degree or higher. Our teachers have an average of over 14 years of experience. You'll remember a few weeks ago we honored over 240 of our national board certificated teachers, not all there at one night, but that's how many we have on staff. And I just want to say on behalf of all of us, we appreciate each and every one of them, the countless hours of work that they make for student success possible. It's a team effort, but our teachers definitely are there every day building relationships and helping our kids through day-to-day, minute-by-minute situations. And how do we know that? We looked at our climate survey, said, hey, how are our kids feeling about our teachers? Here's some responses. My teachers expect me to do my best. 89% of our students responded positively to that. And this is for grades 4 through 12, and we got about half of the eligible students to participate. So this isn't a small sampling. This is a pretty significant sampling. My teachers believe student learning is important. 87% of the students responded positively. My teacher believes that I'm able to learn new things. 88% responded positively. So I just want to give a huge shout out to all of our teaching staff and say thank you for everything that you do. I'd also like to recognize that this is National Nurses Week, and specifically yesterday was School Nurses Day on May 8th. We had a fun, wonderful celebration at our last CAB meeting about the nursing program at TPS. The men and women that lead that program are just simply said they are the best. They deal with ins and outs. Sometimes they're medical, sometimes physical, sometimes they're mental needs. Sometimes it's just a caring little bit of, you got this, you can do this, and get back. And we have, I think, over 100,000 visits to the nursing room in a year. And so they are popular places to be in that space. And so I want to give a big shout out to our nurses. Big thank you to Shaleigh Hobbs and Karen Smith for leading the team, and so just and all of them. And then finally, it's School Communications Day is Friday, May 10th. We have a small and mighty team. You know, some of them have been sitting in the back that help us try to spread the word and communicate in an effective way. It is not an easy task, and we get that. And so I just want to be a big shout out to Ms. Jumper's team. We have a short little video I'd like to share. I think you're going to see one example of Mr. Tim Henderson from Meeker. He is, we're also going to give a shout out, as my understanding, he is retiring this year as well. And so congratulations to Tim as the video comes up.
What I appreciate about teaching is getting that kid that I've never had before that's excited about education, all of a sudden they get sparked and that light goes on. And that's kind of what enthuses me about teaching. I know myself that I am a worker guy, and I want them to work, I want them to learn, and I want them to do all these high expectation things, but also I have to realize they're just kids, and they're doing the best they can. And you've got to give them that room to change. You can't just say change, you give them that room to change. I think the thing as a teacher, every day, you've got 145 people that are actually listening to you. And most of them are. You have an audience, and you're presenting a product, and you're hoping that they buy it because you're trying to sell it. Most of the time, they're buying it. So when I leave teaching, sometimes I think, I won't have that audience anymore. That's all that I know, and I'm going to miss the kids. But that's part of a journey. You move on. So when I think of the thousands of kids I've had and all the things that they've given to me. And and I hope that I've given them something. Oftentimes I don't know if you have or you haven't. Sometimes they come back and but most of the time you don't. And you see the growth of those kids too. I mean, the kids I have now, I see the growth that they've had over September. And I have this one kid that comes up every once in a while and he wants to shake my hand and say, "Hey, Mr. Ederson, how are you doing?" It's like, wow, thanks. I mean, what other profession can you get that, Even if you've had a tough day, there's still something that happened that's a great thing. And you've got those kids. It really is a privilege.
So there are nearly 4,000 of us, including you folks, that try to work with our community partners and our kids on an everyday basis. But I do want to make a special shout out to our teachers, our school nurses, and our communications this week for everything you do. You make Tacoma a special place. I'm grateful for you. And if you're in the room or if you're listening at home, and if you get a chance, please take a chance to thank them. And if you get a chance to get on our public website, you can see that there are more videos. I think there are 8 videos in total of some of our amazing educators from across the district. So thank you, and that is my report for today evening.
I just want to add, the videos are spectacular. I cried through most of them, except the nurses one. It made me laugh the entire time. So if you have an opportunity to listen to young little human beings talk about why nurses are special and important, I highly recommend that video. It will totally make your day. So thank you very much. All right. Moving on to item number 10, members of the public wishing to address the board. Public comment guidelines. Actually, I guess I see cards, so I'm just going to continue. School board members encourage public participation. Your civic input is appreciated. Board members will not respond to your comments during the meeting. The superintendent or designee will follow up with you after the meeting if action is needed. Instead of speaking at the meeting, you may also send an email to the board at board@tacoma.k12.wa.us. Please contact the board office in advance of the meeting for disability accommodations. Under Board Policy 1430, Public Comment, the board president may terminate an individual's comment when the allotted time has passed and may interrupt a speaker to require the same standard of civility that the board imposes on itself. Examples of uncivil comments include comments that are libelous or slanderous under a legal standard, are unwarranted invasions of privacy, are obscene or indecent pursuant to the Federal Communications Act or any rule or regulation of the Federal Communications Commission, violate school district policy or procedure related to harassment, intimidation, bullying, or discrimination, incite an unlawful act on school premises, or violate a lawful school regulation, or create a material or substantial disruption of the orderly operations of the board meeting. The board as a whole has the final decision in determining the appropriateness of all such rulings and can maintain order by removing those who are disruptive. However, the board recognizes the distinction between uncivil discourse, which it will not tolerate, and comments about the board, district, and/or staff that are negative yet still civil in nature. The board will exercise its authority to maintain order in content neutral manners. And there are 2 options for public comment. Option 1 is verbal comment, and then option 2 is written comment. And we have no written comment, public comment for this week. And I'm going to turn it over to General Counsel Ben Rowe.
Yes, our first speaker tonight is Penny Kramer.
The timer. Good evening. I'm Penny Kramer, President of Tacoma Education Association. This week is Teacher Appreciation Week, which I commonly refer to as Educator Appreciation Week, because every employee who interacts with students is an educator. From the bus drivers, the paraprofessionals, the custodians, the food service staff, the office professionals, the nurses, the administrators, the counselors, technology services, the teachers, and more. I know I'm forgetting someone. Education cannot happen without all of our educators. Thank you to our students, to our families, and to our community who are putting on celebrations this week and bringing gifts of appreciation in celebration of the work of educators. We appreciate the recognition. Our community has shown a lot of love to our educators, but how can TPS leadership show their appreciation to educators? The best way to appreciate educators is to improve our working conditions, because improving the working conditions of educators improves the learning conditions of our students. Here are some areas that need some improvement. Ensure that all classrooms are cleaned regularly and free from rodent infestations. Guarantee safe drinking water in every single building, not just BIRNEY. Improve safety and security of our work sites, no matter which part of town they're in. Respect the caseload and workload limits established in all of the negotiated agreements. Staff classrooms, programs, and services at the appropriate level so that staff can provide the education for every student every day. Protect our staff from bullying, harassment, and intimidation, and physical harm. Listen to the feedback from staff, students, and community, and then act on that feedback, using that information to make changes and improvements. Recognize that staff and communities, families are community partners, not just organizations. Focus on education, not graduation. Lastly, the best way for the district leadership and you, our elected representatives, to appreciate educators is to engage in conversations with all stakeholders and hold TPS leadership accountable to the community that you represent. Our staff and students deserve better working and learning conditions so that we can educate every student every day. Thank you.
All right. Our next speaker this evening is Ann Sunishi.
Good evening. I am here on behalf of Tacoma Principals Association, Ann Sunishi, principal at Washington Elementary School. And it is staff appreciation season, and our TPA board wanted to take this time, this space, to express our appreciation of the school board and the tough work you do all the time, every day. And you get a lot of flack for it, but we wanted you to know that we appreciate you.
All right.
And no, I don't want a group picture.
Yeah, no. All right, our next speaker will be Paris Roberts, followed by Jasmine McCain.
I'll give that to Enrique. He left. Thank you.
Sure. Yeah, she's going to start that. Should we set it for you?
Hi, I'm a mother. 3 of my kids actually go to Tacoma school districts. And you guys do a great job, and I appreciate for everything that you do. But one thing I want to remind the school board of, something that I've noticed recently, is one of my children that have had incidents every year within the school districts, and that's multiple schools. And the follow through that I don't see is the accountability of how that traumatic event happened. And are we keeping up with them in emotional state from those traumatic events? Are they reporting to you guys? Am I getting the reports when the things happen, or is my kid just telling me? I think we all need to take a step back and sometimes realize that these events that could be traumatic or great big and do impact how they are going to be when they are older. And the more that we talk, the more that we can be prepared if some other assistance may be needed. So as mandated reporters, as we all are, it's more that we talk and become aware, and then doing the follow-up work, because we never know how that incident or incidents can be impacting those children.
For the record, would you please state your name again? Thank you so much.
My name is Paris Roberts.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, our next speaker is Jasmine McCain, followed by Jersey Jackson.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jasmine, and I am the mother of 11-year-old Liliana and 7-year-old Jersey, both of whom have been students at Arlington Elementary for the past 3 years. Recently, our sense of security and trust in this school was shattered on Friday, April 26, when a traumatic incident occurred. I believe many of you have already read my letter detailing the situation involving a teacher at the school who instigated a fight simply because I was asking for clarification on what had transpired during the school day with my child. The actions of this teacher not only caused a huge disturbance, but also placed many individuals in harm's way. My children and others could have been physically harmed due to inappropriate actions of an authoritative figure in your school district. While I appreciate the emails I have received in response to this issue, I felt it necessary to address you all directly. I want to publicly tell you that I want you to take strong disciplinary action that sends a message that this type of behavior will not be tolerated. My children no longer feel safe at Arlington, so they're currently at home, missing out on their education and their end of their school year activities as a result of this ordeal. This is not a matter to be brushed aside with a simple verbal correction. It speaks to a larger issue within our school community that requires immediate attention and resolution. Since this ordeal, I learned that the person investigating this matter is the principal, who is also a witness to this altercation. He has been the person responsible for disciplining this person in the past, and it's clear that this discipline has not been effective. Based on what I've been told and seen, this causes me great concern, as I believe there is a flaw in your process. I hope you would consider assigning a different person to investigate the situation. I implore you all to acknowledge the seriousness of the teacher's actions and address this matter promptly. Thank you. And next on your list, you'll get to hear from Jersey, my daughter, who would like to share her own thoughts with you. Come on, baby. You want me to help you? Or? Okay. There you go. Go ahead. It's okay. You don't have to speak if you don't want to. Do you not want to speak anymore? Okay. Thank you. Come on.
Thank you. All right. Our next speaker is Marquita Dixon, followed by Shalisa Hayes.
Evening, Marquita Dixon, and I'm here to speak about retaining Ms. Proudman at BIRNEY. But first, I just want to show my gratitude to all of the teachers and staff at all of the schools, from the nurse to the janitors to the specialists. It definitely takes a village, and Ms. Proudman is BIRNEY's village. It's kind of infuriating because you guys sit here and you guys tell us to advocate and to send emails. And for the record, on April 23rd, I sent an email to the board, and I didn't expect responses from all of you guys, but I did expect some type of response. So not only has TPS refused to answer my questions when I'm trying to kind of solve a problem for my community, but now the board hasn't. So it almost brings me to a point to like, what is your guys' purpose, right? If we're fighting and you've heard story after story, but like there's no conclusion. And I love that we can celebrate things like we did tonight. That's amazing to see all of these kids growing and doing great things, but there's still problems within the district. So we can't applaud and be happy when at the end of the day we go home at night and problems still are not solved. And then not only what makes it more infuriating is 3 days ago, there was a position posted for an elementary school admin. So it's like, how are you getting rid of her when obviously the position was there? First it was money, but now it's not money because clearly the money's there if you're hiring for someone. And I don't like to go around demanding things, but I honestly feel like I need to demand that you guys give her position back, and whoever you promise that position to needs to go to the other school that may need that admin. And I know you guys have heard a bazillion stories, and I just want to end my time Because Ms. Proudman, every day, regardless what she's going through, and honestly, if it was me, I don't know how I could get up every day and go to work and do such an amazing job. But even yesterday, after school, there was a little boy running around with no shoes on. And typically, someone would probably scold him or just tell him, put your shoes on. Ms. Proudman was outside, and she went to him open-heartedly and said, hey, why are you running around with no shoes on? And he said, oh, my shoes hurt. She didn't scold him. She didn't yell at him. She had an open heart and understanding. And she said, well, where are your shoes at? The child said, in my backpack. He took them out and she said, well, where does it hurt? Because tomorrow we can get you some shoes. And if that doesn't touch your heart, those are things she does every day. And you're wanting to take away someone who molds and guides, and these kids will hold on to these things forever. When we started this journey, there was a middle schooler who came to speak about her. So they're holding on to those things, and I wish I had that. I wish I had memories, and she creates those memories every day, touching every child, so it's infuriating to see that we're still fighting this fight and having to advocate for something that we know is wrong and corrupt, but your silence. Thank you.
Our last speaker this evening is Shalisa Hayes.
Good evening. As mentioned, my name is Shalisa Hayes. If you've ever heard of the Billy Ray Foundation or been to the Eastside Community Center, then you have seen a glimpse into my life's work. In fact, I'm supposed to be at UW tonight participating in a conversation around mass shootings, but instead I'm here. I only say that because I eat, sleep, and breathe violence prevention, especially among young people. So you can imagine the look of horror on my face when I heard about the altercation at Arlington Elementary that Jasmine just spoke to you about. Since I wasn't present, I won't attempt to restate what happened that day, but I will say that as a mother and a resident of Tacoma, I have serious concerns, not only about the teacher's behavior, but the ensuing investigation. It's safe to say that we have an expectation of our children, or that our children conduct themselves with dignity and grace when interacting with others. We expect them to be polite, mind their manners, and learn proper conflict resolution skills. We expect them to be nonviolent. How in the world can we have this expectation for our children if the very adults involved in their everyday lives are not modeling that same behavior? Jasmine briefly spoke about her distrust for the process, and I have to say that I agree with her. I was baffled to learn that the person in charge of investigating this matter was an actual witness, at least for a portion of the incident, yet he did not initiate an investigation until this mother submitted a formal complaint. That's a problem. I was even more appalled to learn that the teacher was allowed to go back to work the very next school day as if nothing happened. Meanwhile, this family is sitting at home, traumatized, trying to map out their next steps. Because of this altercation involving your teacher, you have a mother trying to make a difficult decision on whether to move her children to a different school for safety reasons at the very end of the school year, which hurts these children's academic success. She's taking a loss in her wages as she misses work. And there are two brilliant children that you just saw at home trying to be productive while healing from something that seriously frightened them. It's one thing to have a child deal with a child bully. It's a totally different ball game when you have to deal with a teacher who's acting like a bully. And speaking of brilliance, these are honor roll students, a class president, and a very academically active parent, which I believe speaks to their character. This is not a family of people who don't know how to conduct themselves or effectively problem solve. Last sentence, please. When children act inappropriately in a major way, one of the first things the general public will ask is, where are their parents? So in this case of the teacher's inappropriate behavior, I'm asking, where are you?
Thank you.
Thank you.
And that was our last speaker this evening.
Thank you, General Counsel.
Yes.
I move to adopt the consent agenda.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there any questions or comments? No? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Passes. Hold on, sorry. I'm struggling with my computer. Item number 12, policy matters. There are no policy matters. Item number 13, financial report. The district's monthly financial report will be presented at the May 23rd, 2024 business meeting. Monthly financial statements can be found on the district website at Tacoma at www.tacomaschools.org/department/business and finance. Item number 14, curriculum and instruction. 14.1, approval of contractual interlocal agreement between Tacoma School District and the Port of Tacoma from May 2024 to August 2026. No, I just, thank you. This is the draft, and I keep it.
Good evening. The Director of Innovative Learning and CTE recommends that the Board of Directors approve the interdistrict agreement between Tacoma Public Schools and the Port of Tacoma, May 31, 2023 through August 31st of 2026.
I move item 14.1.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there any questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes.
Thanks.
Thank you, Adam. Item 14.2, approval of interlocal agreement TSD-24-053 with Mary M. Knight School District for Washington Connections Academy.
Hello, Board. The Director of Data Assessment, Research and Technology and Coaching Support, on behalf of the Assistant Superintendent of Teaching and Learning, recommends the Board of Directors approve the Washington Connections Academy Interlocal Agreement TSD 24-053. The estimated dollar amount Tacoma Public Schools will receive from the Washington Connections Academy is $500 or less per year. Funding source assessment.
I move to adopt 14.2.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Do we have any questions? Nope. Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? It passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Josh. Item 15, business matters. 15.1, approval of contract number TSD 19-198, amendment number 1 between Final Site Active Internet Technologies and Tacoma Public Schools from May 9th, 2024 through May 8th, 2029.
Good afternoon. The Chief Communications Officer recommends the Board of Directors approve contract number TSD-19-198, amendment number 1 between Final Site Active Internet Technology and Tacoma Public Schools in the amount of $481,403 from May 9th, 2004 through May 8th, 2029.
I move to adopt item 15.1.
I second.
It's been moved and seconded. Do we have any questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tanisha. Let's see, item 15.2, approval of National Purchasing Cooperative, DBA, National Buy Board, not bodyguard, like I almost said, Buy Board Interlocal Agreement. The chief, I'm gonna pass it over to you.
Okay, the Director of Strategic Financial Operations, on behalf of the Chief Financial Officer, recommends that the Board of Directors approve the interlocal agreement between Buy Board and Tacoma Public Schools for a 5-year term.
I move item 15.2.
Second.
Third.
It's been moved and third. It's been moved and seconded. Any questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kari. Item 15.3, approval to amend contract with BN Builders for the design build services for the South Puget Sound Maritime Skills Center and Port Maritime Center Planning and Development Project.
The Chief Operating Officer recommends that the Board of Directors approve the amendment to the initial design build service agreement for the pre-design and schematic design phase of the South Puget Sound Maritime Skills Center and Port Maritime Center Planning and Development. The total value of the fees in this agreement is $10,748,506, excluding sales tax.
I move item 15.3.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Do we have any questions or comments?
No, I guess I'd just like to say I'm so excited about this project moving forward, and for those in the public who came to the open house this week, there was a big turnout, and there was lots of oohing and eyeing over the design, so it's good to see that we're moving forward, and there seems to be a lot of enthusiasm. So thank you for your work and your team's work on this.
Yeah, it was really exciting to see the maps and the schematic. It's like real. It makes it real after all of this time. So. All right, no other comments or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It passes. Moving on to item 15.4, approval to award contract to Orca Pacific, Inc. for pool chemicals and supplies.
The Chief Operating Officer recommends that the Board of Directors approve the superintendent to negotiate and award a 3-year contract to Orca Pacific, Inc., with an option for an additional 2-year extension for pool chemicals and supplies. The estimated annual cost is $70,000 per year with a 3-year cost of $210,000 value, excluding sales tax.
I move to adopt 15.4.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Item 15.5, approval to award a sprinkler on-call service, maintenance and repair contract to Northwest Fire Systems.
The Chief Operating Officer recommends that the Board of Directors authorize their superintendent to approve a 2-year contract through August 2026 with Northwest Fire Systems for sprinkler on-call services, maintenance, and repairs for an amount not to exceed $400,000, excluding sales tax.
I move item 15.5.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? It passes. Thank you, Chris. Item 16, other business. There is none. Item number 17, board comments and reports.
You're first today.
You know, I'm gonna hold off.
Lord, I knew you were gonna do this to me. Anyways.
That doesn't mean you have to go first.
Oh, no, I'm ready though, because I
Okay.
have something. Actually, there's a lot of things happening in our city, things that are important, that resonate with families, and I think oftentimes these meetings only get watched by a few people, but the people who do watch them, they're like, Josiah, you stop giving those reports on what's happening in the city. I'm like, thank you for emailing my contact and letting me know officially. I should get back to that. So back to that. Last week there was the plant sale at Lincoln High School. I did not attend. I was sick. But from May 8th to May 12th is the SILAS High School plant sale. So I'll be going there on this weekend, hopefully on Saturday. But if I'm sleepy, probably Sunday. Other things coming up this weekend are the Disability Resource Fair from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. at Tacid. Jenny Reed, PTA in partnership with the South End Neighborhood Council, is doing a walking tour of the neighborhood in that area, so folks can get more acquainted with the South End. Also this weekend at Evergreen, Tacoma, there's a statewide summit for Black history in Washington State. Evergreen, Tacoma is partnering with Black Historic Sites of Washington, Saturday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. with presentations about historic preservations of Black historical sites in Washington State. And then tomorrow night is Dia de las Madres and the night market at the Ruston Night Market at 6 p.m. Now I said all the fun things. General Counsel Ben Rowe, you're welcome. I have a question for you.
Alrighty.
What is the role of a school board director?
The role of a school board director is to set the vision for a school district to be executed by its superintendent.
So basically our job is to set a vision, oversee some policies,
Correct.
and evaluate the superintendent.
You got it.
Correct. Cool beans. Question, is the school board directly involved in the hiring or firing of any employees in this district?
I don't make a habit of giving super specific legal advice on television like this, but the board does have, I don't know if we had it on this board meeting, but one of the things the board does is vote on recommendations on hiring and firing. You usually see it in the consent agenda under the recommendations for personnel.
So it's recommended to us by the HR department, who's overseen by the superintendent, and then they do a thorough investigation because that's their job. Their job is to recommend things to us, and then we are to take that information, we can dissect it, we can ask questions, we can move it or refuse to move it.
I think that's correct, yeah.
All right, I'm just making sure. I got to make sure I know what I'm doing up here. And then also, would it be ethical to discuss someone's personnel file from the dais?
It's not a legal question.
I'm just asking you, is it ethical?
You know,
Or is it legal?
that's a the ethical question only I think only you can discuss. I would say that there are legal prohibitions on sharing certain confidential personnel matters on television in open forum.
Thank you so much, because I would never want to break the law on television and over the phone. And so then my last question would be for the superintendent. Question: when there are incidents in schools and they are reported, how does that information get to you and or to the school board?
So in several ways. So an email may get to a school board that explains something and that a concern, and the school board president would be working on behalf of the board to speak in there, and they would direct them back to myself and the appropriate staff. So in that point, we explore what the concern or the positiveness or whatever the issue is, and then we respond directly back to that individual that is address that. And we usually then double back with you folks or the board president, and say this issue has been addressed, or we're still working on those things.
All right, and at the last meeting, I did tell folks it is your constitutional right to come to the school board meeting to advocate and to speak about issues happening. Also speak about the good things that are happening. I love giving praise. I also love hearing the truth. And if you do not know how to reach us, our email address is board@tacoma.k12.wa.us. We would love to hear from you. And those are my comments. It was so nice.
Thank you, Director McElroy. Who would like to go?
Well, I've just got something really short, but I just want to say, I just want to celebrate, since we're celebrating two of our colleagues up here who have had birthdays. Director McElroy yesterday, and today is Director Strozier's birthday, so I just want to make sure that they feel appreciated. It's been yes, I hope so. He did not want that, but I did it anyway. I didn't sing.
Did you want to talk about communities and schools? The event?
I could. Yeah. So since the last meeting, we've had a couple of things. We had the superintendent had the parents' breakfast meeting with
Superintendent Advisory.
Right, the Parents Advisory Council meeting with faith leaders, which was really an exciting addition to the usual group that was there. And we had a great, some presentations and some dance and theater performances from students from various schools, the Grant Elementary students who put on the play Newsies Junior, and then also the Lincoln High School students who were actually putting on Newsies as well, and they joined together and did a joint little presentation. It was fabulous. So that was, and then of course we had dancing and singing from other students, so it was great. And then people broke into subgroups and had like little workshops, which was great. And then after that, several of us went to the Communities and Schools fundraising breakfast, which was an annual event where we learn all about what the great work Communities and Schools are doing in our schools on behalf of our students. And they're going to be adding hopefully 2 schools this year, Lincoln and what was the other one? Did you remember? Anybody remember the second school?
I believe they're just starting with Lincoln.
Lincoln, okay. So Lincoln this year, and so that was exciting to hear. And then the other thing only other thing I had to talk about was which we have already talked about, was the Maritime Skills Center open house this week. So it's been a good week of a month or so. We have a couple of weeks between board meetings of community input. So it's great.
Awesome. Vice President Strozier.
Just real quick, this is consistent with what I do every year around this time, is shine light on the fact that May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and I think it's important that we lift that up consistently. Just a reminder to our staff, our students, and anybody who is operating in this educational space in a time where things are getting shaken up, and just a reminder that your mental health is just as important as your physical health, and we have to prioritize that. Take it from me, I know sometimes that the lows can be extremely low, and there is a battle that has to take place in order sometimes just to keep your nose up above water, and it's an active fight to do that. So if you're going through it, keep going, but note that you don't have to go anywhere alone. You don't have to do anything by yourself. There's supports at your school. There's supports in the community. Just want to encourage folks to lean into those things. Our seniors, I believe, have less than 20 days left of school before they step into an entirely different phase of their life. So my encouragement to those folks is to care for yourself, but also lock in, because it's almost over, but it ain't over yet. So stay in the fight. We're almost there. Thanks.
I'm going to list through some of the other celebrations and things and events. Since the last board meeting, I was at Mary Lyon for the learning celebration, the student learning celebration. And there was a book fair, which was their first book fair since 2019. Definitely before COVID. I thought they told me 2019, and it was every grade level. They had stories, and they were writing books about the things they were learning. I lost count of how many classrooms, spent time with students learning about the projects. There were, I think, the 4th and 5th graders. It could have just been 5th graders, but they did a project on like jobs, future jobs that they would want to do and investigate. Like some of the jobs were like a bank manager, and there was a pilot. There was like some really thoughtful career paths that I was really impressed. And then the students also had, through their social studies, there was a whole timeline, history timeline and art that was incorporated, and through colonialism, pre-colonialism, and then post-colonialism in the United States. It was a really, really cool event, and the book fair was the most popular, as it should be. So it was really great to just spend, to be back at Lyon and talk with staff and families and students. The plant sales were mentioned. So Lincoln had their plant sale on Friday, and then Mount T had their plant sale Saturday, Sunday, and then of course SILAS started yesterday during weekdays. And so, but what I will say is you better get there fast because they sell out. So Lincoln sold out, Mount T sold out, and they had to end their plant sales early. And I do my best to spread love around all of them, and it's just really cool. Both Lincoln and Mount Tahoma, I mean, actually all of them have just, the students give amazing customer service. And I can't emphasize how important it is, because we all can think about more times that we've had crappy customer service than excellent customer service. And man, those students, like at every single school, were welcoming. They offered support and helped and eased lines, and like they were just fantastic. At Lincoln, I will give a shout out to their other CTE programs. They all collaborated, and so the seed program, the teacher seed program, they had small packages of like art projects and seeds and things for young people. The culinary department, they were selling desserts. There was 3D printed birdhouses, and there was like some yard art and all kinds of stuff. It was, and there was another department, I can't remember, but they created the graphics design. They created stickers. Like there was just such it was a hugely collaborated event. And I think that for me, it was the first time I'd been on that, spent significant time on that side of the building since the baseball fields and tennis courts opened, because I go through the main doors, so I just hadn't been on that side. And to see hundreds of people just buzzing all over the campus. Alongside, there was baseball. SILAS was playing. I see Miss Ray still in the back. But there was like baseball happening. There was just like, it was so exciting to see our students so engaged and excited, and the success that they were doing, and community that was coming together to support our students was just really, really special. And I know it took a huge number of staff to make sure that all of these events take place. So huge credit to them. Last weekend was a busy weekend because the Hilltop Artists had their annual glass sale at Hilltop Meritage. Yeah, sorry you missed out. It was awesome. Yeah, so that annual sale happened, and students and actually student alums came and participated, and that's just like such a hugely valuable program that we had, that our students have access to. And then also that same morning at the Eastside Community Center was a Youth Law and Justice Summit that was also really dynamic and has been going on for a number of years, and it was just so special to see so many of our justices and local legal scholars just investing in our students and helping them learn how, giving them an opportunity to learn about how they got into the fields that they're in. So that was, and they also gave away a lot of prizes for pro tip for next year if anybody goes back. So that was really, really special. And then I wanted to, the other thing that I did was I was invited to University of Puget Sound by students in their master teacher program to participate in a panel on really just on Tacoma Public Schools. And there were some really complicated questions, some critical questions, but very, very thoughtful questions. And I was really honored to be invited to participate. Our own amazing Justina Johnson, director of AVID and highly capable. Did I get her title correct, Superintendent? I didn't. AVID and
Academic Equity.
Thank you so much. And then also our school counselor, Erin Tyrell, I hope I'm saying Erin's last name right. She's the counselor at Whittier. And then one of our community partners also participated. It was just a really thoughtful conversation, and I was just really, I was honored to participate in it, and we really talked about the complexities of the things that our families are facing, that our students are facing, and often the things that families that are right on the margins of needing services but don't quite qualify for services, and how do we support them, and how does housing and just poverty impact our students. And so the UPS students were just, it was totally student-led, and it was amazing. So I was really I'm just grateful for that partnership that we have with UPS. And then I'm also in the midst of, I know Director Brombright has done this, Wainwright's 5th grade group, students are doing their IB program or IB projects. And I know Deputy Superintendent and I are mentoring different groups, but I met with my group for the first time last Friday, and I'll be back again on this Friday. And they're a group of, I think I have a group of 4 boys, and they're, one was absent one day, or the day I was there, but they chose child trafficking as their topic. And it was also super interesting because 2 of the students, they're also immigrants. And so there is an additional layer to their, what does child and human trafficking look like? And they have a very particular, very valuable perspective. So I'm very excited to go back to that. And then I want to say that our Director of Indian Education, David Scythe, has been awarded, is receiving an award from the Puyallup Tribe on May 29th. And I will be honored. I'll be joining the awards to honor David, and I'm just so excited and thrilled for all that David and his team do in the Indian Education department. And then I think I just I have sat, I mean, we've all been here and listened and intently taken in comments and feedback, and often it's critical, and often people come here when there's an issue that they haven't found a way to resolve outside of coming here, or it hasn't met the need that they're needing or asking for. And I always appreciate Director McElroy's questions of let's clarify, what do we do? What do we not do? And we get a lot of things that are thrown at us. We are accused of things. We are And we sit here and we listen because we value whether or not we like what's being said or that we have any control over the incident that took place. We value hearing from people. We are in our schools. We are in the communities. We live in this community. We are raising our families in this community. We are mentoring young people in this community. We are fostering kids in this community. And I just, Vice President Strozier is here on his birthday. Many of us have spent our birthdays here, our children's birthdays. Our anniversaries are significant. We show up because it's what we believe in. We sought these positions because we believe in the potential and the work of this district and this board, and we do things that are unseen all the time. We respond to people in email. We ask challenging questions. We ask staff, we ask the superintendent, help us understand how this happened. How do we prevent it? Even more importantly, we work really hard to improve systems. And when we experience a process or a procedure that we're like, well, this doesn't really feel like it can be improved, and we collectively seek to make things better all the time. We receive threats. We deal with racism. We deal with homophobia and transphobia. We are personally targeted. I have had the FBI in my house because I sit on this board. We have safety protocols put in place. I get my mail checked. I get suspicious mail. My child has been targeted because I sit up here. And for months, we have been told that we don't care. We have been told that we don't value or believe in equity. We have been told that we are corrupt. We've been told we're not taxpayers. One day I hope we get to be taxpayers too. I just want to take a second to there is an entire system that is moving all the time, filled with hundreds and hundreds of people, aiming to make the lives of our students better. We need all of these individuals to do that. We need people that govern to help with that system. We need people that are going to advocate for resources and policy and legislation to continue to improve these systems. And most of the time we sit up here in silence. We don't respond to everything because there are privacy issues. Because sometimes there's misinformation. Sometimes it's orchestrated misinformation. And we're limited on what we can and can't say. And I just got to tell you, I'm tired. And sometimes we get to see bright spots. And today, there was a voicemail that was shared with us of an elderly woman who was around soda, and she saw two other students that were carrying bouquets of flowers for teacher appreciation into soda, and had joked with them, well, where are my flowers? And these students said, oh, here, you can have some flowers. She's like, no. I didn't mean that. I was just kidding. They're like, no. We really want you to have these flowers. And she said, I just wanted to call and tell you that I'm an old woman, and sometimes there are really good things that are happening. And that the students are doing really good things. And I'm sure you don't hear much about the good things. And I want to thank the three of you up here, because man, I couldn't do this without the three of you. And I'm grateful to have the opportunity to serve, to have had the trust to be elected to serve, and I do it with my whole heart, as do the rest of you up here. So just after months and months of some really challenging assumptions and comments, just needed to get that out there, because we're working really hard. And I know most of it isn't seen, and most of the time I'm okay with that. All of it is voluntary, correct. So, we do have an important announcement. So, on May 16th, we are going to have a special meeting to hold an executive session. And then beginning May 23rd, board business meetings are going to be held at the Professional Development Center auditorium, also known as the PDC, located at 6501 North 23rd Street, Tacoma, until such time that the cab elevator is operational, so that our meetings are accessible to those with mobility needs and mobility issues. So again, beginning May 23rd, we will not be holding our meetings in this building. They will be at the Professional Development Center auditorium, located at 6501 North 23rd Street. And then trying to see where else. So, and then we'll have another meeting there on June 6th at 6 p.m.
President Keating?
Yeah.
I could just note for the record, the address and the Professional Development Center is the old Truman, which was the old Skyline. Not the old Skyline, the current old Skyline, the original old Skyline, the old Truman. It's really complicated, but it's right there next to Skyline Elementary School. So if you hear PDC and you don't know what that is, and even when you put Professional Development Center in your Google Maps, just look up Skyline and you'll be there.
And we'll make sure the websites are all updated so that folks can know. We'll probably just shorten it to not the old. I appreciate that. But we're going to just go with the new PDC. But we'll make sure the website is updated. We'll put some signs out there. And so, folks will be, and to your point, President Keating, it'll be till further notice. And replacing an elevator is quite the task. And so folks will get familiar with that space, and there's parking and that opportunity. So give yourself a little extra time if you're going to come in that space. No. We'll make sure that folks, they have access to the address and the directions inside the PDC as well.
And I also want to thank Tanisha Jumper and her team for helping us identify a place to be able to move our meetings to until further notice, because that wasn't just done. We didn't just make that decision. There was a lot of effort and thought that went into that. So I just want to thank those of you in the back particularly for the effort that you put into that. Yeah. So, unless there are any other comments, with that, this meeting is adjourned.